Good evening, everybody. I wasn't going to do a vlog tonight, but I thought I would do actually with the having been to the Kooks gig at the Peace Hall this evening. So turned out to be a very good gig. I got there just in time to see the last song of the first support artist, which was Kate Curiel. I can't say any much about her. She looked quite a nice looking girl. Song's very nice, she was singer-songwriter. I was told she was an electric violinist, but I was also told she was starting at 7:15 when quite clearly she started at 6:30. So I might have seen a bit more if I'd known she started earlier, but hey, that's the way it goes. So once I'd heard her one song or her final song, I buggered off to the bar and got myself a nice berries double gin and tonic, only a tenner. Sound like a bargain compared to the previous round that I bought at the Peace Hall, so happy with that. On my own tonight, so no other people to buy for, so that was a bonus. So I got back in my position, made the drink last probably until, about 40 minutes actually, because it lasted until the next act came on, the main support act, which were a band from Birmingham called The Claws. Now, they were described as indie rock. I'd say that's probably fairly accurate. They were like an indie pop boy band, really. But I've got to say, they were very good. The first song, I can't really, something like Nothing As It Seems, or Nothing's What It Seems, something like that, was good. I Don't Care, I think there was one at middle as well called, that was good. And the last song was really good. It was probably the best track. It was called In My Element. They said they got an album out, came out last year, but I'll go and have a look at that. And I think the tour's actually named after it. I just can't remember the name at the moment, but I'm going to have a look. I might possibly get that album. I was very impressed with them. They look very young, but the audience were really into them. As if there were quite a lot of young people in the audience tonight. It surprised me a little bit. But they really enjoyed the Claws stuff, and I think there were quite a few in the audience who've got that album, I would imagine. So moving on to the main act themselves, the Kooks, and they performed really well. Again, like I said, there were a lot of young people in the audience, and the Kooks' first album, Inside In, Inside Out, came out, I think it was 2005, so that's 21 years ago. So the album's older than quite a lot of the audience tonight, which was surprising, but they knew all the words and they got really into it, and there were lots of people up on shoulders doing the key songs. I've got to give a shout out to one lad who really excelled himself tonight. He was a young lad, probably, 18, 19, something like that, trying to be he was a bit American Pie-ish. It was like he got chatting and he managed to stick his tongue down some girl's throat, and she was quite an attractive girl, but it sort of made me think about Stifler's mom and stuff like that, but well done to him. I asked his mate, actually, whether he were going to go for Dublin, because she was with her mum, so I wonder if we were going to go for double with mum, but he didn't quite manage that and didn't dare try, I don't think. He didn't go for the other mate either. So anyway, back to the actual focus of this vlog, and that's the gig itself. And the Kooks were excellent. Any band with a song called Jackie Big Tits in it is going to go down well, I think, with most of the male audience. In fact, I think she was stood just to the left of me. So I think I need to ask Jamie from the 80s Time Machine about a song such as this, because he seems an expert on that subject. In my opinion, more than a handful's a waste. But we'll move on to the, like I say, the actual concert performance by the Kooks. Very good. Luke was very, very good, on very good form. Seemed to enjoy the venue. The band give it all they got. Obviously, favourites were the last two songs. They went off and they come back and did an encore. They did Oola and Naive, which are two of the best known songs. She Moves in Her Own Way, performed very well. I personally, poignant to me at the moment is Seaside, for reasons I won't go into so much. Also, I enjoyed West Side, which is one of the experimental songs, is what I described it as. Also, I think it's called Junk Ship of My Heart or something like that, Happy Heart. I don't know, it's something like that, but it's a really good song as well. Overall, I think they did 21 songs. They were decent value for money, really. I'd say they did about an hour and 20, probably, something like an hour and 25. So yeah, I felt it was worth going tonight. This was one of the gigs before, of all the tickets I'd bought for gigs this summer, this was a gig that I was a little bit probably the most unsure about, actually. A bit like that with Weller as well, but Weller turned out great, and this one turned out to be really good as well. So yeah, I had a really enjoyable night, and yeah, the crowd really got into it. And like I said, I was a little bit shocked by the young age of a lot of the audience. So I didn't see my next door neighbour, actually. Her and her family were all there as well, so hope they enjoyed it. And I hope you've enjoyed listening to these ramblings about tonight's show. And yeah, until the next one, bye for now.